Hello, good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, welcome to our introductory session about the TKT. My name is Jessica Tito. I am a licensed Spanish language teacher, but also I am a dual language immersion teacher here in Utah. I've also taught English in Peru for many years, more than 25 years of my life, like EFL, ESL, and also English for academic purposes, as well as training candidates and training speaking examiners for Cambridge examinations. So there are many things I can share with you, and then you can also ask when I start presenting. So hello, Adriana, Carla, Christian, Daniel, Emma, Grace, Jesus, Karina, Carol, Miriam, Patricia, Roxana, Vanessa, and now Fiorella is joining us. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the teaching knowledge test, what it is, what it consists of, why it is so important, and what it consists of. Let's see. There we go. So first of all, this is going to be something similar to our sessions. We are going to explore what you know, because most of you here are teachers already. So it is always important to build on what everybody else knows, right? So we are going to answer this question. I want you to think for 10 seconds right now in your minds, what makes a good teacher? All right, let me set a timer here so we can do it like in 10 exact seconds. All right, and 10. 5 seconds. And that's it. All right, so we are going to visit. There are more people joining the group right now. Give me a second. All right, so we are going to visit another page where you can answer. The page is www.menti.com. But let me see if I can show that to you. There it is. So, let me. All right, this is it. So there are two ways in which you can access this poll. You can go to menti.com and enter this code. So there are two ways. I'm going to copy that in the chat. You can go to menti.com and enter the code 29212053. The other way is if you already have a mobile phone with you, you can just scroll, you can scan the QR code that is on the screen, and then you can join us. Very briefly, I'd like you to share with everybody else what makes a good teacher for you, right? So you're going to have, let's see, let's assign, I think 3 minutes is okay. Yes. And you can begin now. Remember, try to write a brief answer. And there we go. We have the answers. Oh, we have 5 now. We have service, creativity, passion, patience. Creativity, adaptability, empathy, passion. So three participants have already answered, and there are 21 participants. We have 2 minutes. From the bottom of your heart, the first words that come to you, what comes to you when you think about what makes a good teacher? The page is on the screen. You just have to join at menti.com and enter this code. Or you can just scroll this QR code with your mobile phone and then you will take it. So we have 5 participants so far. 6 participants. Seconds, the last 30 seconds. And 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you very much for your kind participation. There we go. Look at this. The biggest words represents the most content variable. I mean, what most people think about what a good teacher is. The biggest words here are passion and patience. So yeah, especially if you're teaching in schools, you need to be passionate about your job and you have to have a lot of patience. Then you also need to be creative because we don't want to have bored students, right? So we need to present sometimes the same thing in different ways because what works for one class doesn't work for the other. And we need to prepare. Yes, preparation is important. A lot of teachers who have a lot of experience sometimes tend to think that they don't need to prepare things because they know how to deal with that. But especially if you're teaching in schools, and if you're teaching in elementary, preparation is crucial because we need to have an array of activities to get our students involved in the tasks that we develop and present in class. And then we also have other words which are like kind of at the same level, right? We have adaptability, yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Sometimes you prepare a wonderful lesson that works for one class, but then you go to the other class and it doesn't work. So you need to be able to adapt to changes and to the response of your group, right? You need to know your students well because you can know when this happens, you can anticipate. You need to be empathic so you can build good rapport with your class. You need to be knowledgeable because sometimes, especially if you're in secondary school, students know many things, and we don't want them to lose confidence in their teacher. So in order to be trusting, we need to know our content, our topic, our objectives. We need to be understanding. We need to encourage our students because we're like cheering them. We need to love what we do. We want to serve, especially if we're in schools. We need to be kind. We need to enjoy our classes with our students. We need to be updated. We need to be compassionate. We need to be kind again. And there we are. And we need to engage them. Yes. Yeah. I've always remembered that many years ago, I heard somewhere, but it's true. I always keep it in mind. that in order to have a good lesson, we need to have the 3 M's. Anytime we finish our plan, we need to make sure if our plan will make our class, oh, sorry, there are more people joining us. Okay. All right, so we need to remember and to take into account if our class is meaningful. That means is the content appropriate for our students? Like, for example, we're not going to teach, for example, the names of the objects and toys that you can find in a playground in kindergarten to students who are in the 6th grade, right? If we teach like seesaw, like the slide, like the sand to 6th graders, it is not meaningful, it's meaningless. It doesn't represent anything to them, but it will create interest in kinder because it's part of their daily life. You see, that is what makes the content meaningful. We also want it to be motivating because if the students are motivated, they will be eager to learn. It's going to be easier for them to acquire learning and language. And finally, we want this to be memorable. It's usually connected with meaningfulness, right? So the 3 M's are important when we're going to present a lesson to our students. All right, so, but what does it have to do with a, let's see, how is that connected to our TKT? Well, a good teacher knows about the language. You said that. A good teacher needs to be knowledgeable. He needs to know their content, right? The grammar, the vocabulary. Yeah, it is our second language. Maybe all of us, I'm not sure, unless there is an Anglo speaker here, but most of us know English as our second language. So it may be the case that perhaps we don't know 1 or 2 things, but we need to, that's why we need to be prepared when we come to class, you see? And somebody else said that, you put it there in the Menti. Again, we're prepared. We need to use different methods so we don't bore our students. We need to use different materials and activities so that we can switch quickly because depending on the age of our students, some activities will bore them faster. I mean, they're going to, their concentration span is shorter when they are younger, you see? We need to organize students efficiently and we need to listen to learners and give feedback, right? That means we need to be understanding with them, right? So this takes us to this question. So what do we need to know? Maybe a lot of you already know grammar and vocabulary and linguistics principles or foundations to prepare and to present our lessons to our students. Maybe the ones who are not so experienced rely more on their teachers' books. Because come on, we are lucky. Our teachers' books present everything from the warm-up, the practice presentation, evaluation, extension, etc. Right? But it's okay, it's valid because we can learn from that too, right? Myself, when I was very young, many years ago, those were my treasure because I was in the 90s, I was also studying education at the university at the same time, but it was more useful for me to have my teacher's books. All right, but now what do we need to know? See, so if I am the teacher, I'm thinking, okay, what am I teaching? Who am I teaching? Now that's my audience. In this case, my group, my class. How will I teach it? How will I know? How can I check? Yeah, that's evaluation. So we need to understand different methodologies. You see, we need to, let me see here. All right. We need to understand different methodologies. We need to learn how to select a range of resources. Now, the range is the variety, the load, how much of this is appropriate for this or that class. We need to be able to use the language of teaching, the pedagogical lexicon, because we are teachers, right? So when I tell you things like, this is very common, right? Like warm up, extension, evaluation, yeah, that is like the jargon that teachers use, that we understand, just that maybe these words may mean something different to other people, but not for us, because we know what it means in our context. We need to be able to deliver an effective lesson preparation, yes? And we also need to understand of classroom management methods for different needs. See, the methodology. And of course, the classroom language, right? The classroom language. That's important. So that's the first thing we do, right? Like the first days of our classes, every year, we kind of train our students into habits and routines and the type of conversations that they should and vocabulary they need to use in order to participate in class and in everyday interactions with their peers and with the teacher. All right. There are more participants now. Okay. So what is a TKT then? You know, this initial, the acronym means teaching knowledge. Remember the previous question, what kind of knowledge do we need? The teaching knowledge test. This is a test, as I've just said that, okay? It is a test for teachers. Of course, this test has an output. You're going to get a product for it. By taking this test, you will be issued a certificate in English teaching, right? Like this. Now, if you've taken the C1 advanced or C2 proficiency or B2 first, formerly known as the FCE, for example, you may remember that in those proficiency tests, you fail or you pass. Well, here there is no passing or failing, but what you're going to get is a band. You're going to receive a band as a result. The band, the highest score, will show what is your knowledge of pedagogical practices in teaching English, right? And there are three important modules. Yes, like this one, for example, the certificate you are seeing right now on the screen represents the first module, module 1. And there is also a module 2, and then there is also module 3. This, because they belong to Cambridge Assessment of English, these are globally recognized certificates. So they are valid in all parts of the world because, I mean, they are endorsed by an important widely known institution, such as Cambridge University. The area is Cambridge Assessment, and this sub-area is English in this case, right? So who is this TKT for? This could be for new and even experienced teachers. So if perhaps you are aiming at something or which is like not more known, but I would say which is something like that is more traditionally accepted, such as the CELTA or Delta, the TKT is a good test to start this path, right? Because you will get all of the foundations you need in order to start or to pursue studies for the other certificates. It is recommended for teachers with an English level of B1 or above. Now, what is B1? B1 is kind of pre-intermediate, yes? B1 preliminary, for example, formerly known as PET. That is the type of level that you should have at least in order to participate in this course. This is for teachers who are working in primary, secondary, or even teaching adults. It's also for teachers who want to prove their teaching knowledge, right? Because sometimes we know many things that we would like to. I mean, every year we always want to be updated, right? So this is a good course for you that would update you and would revise what you already know or solidify what you already know. And this is for teachers who need a globally recognized certificate and you don't have any formal entry requirement, right? What is a formal entry requirement? For example, there are some types of certifications that require that you have a formal qualification, for example, a bachelor degree. See, that is a formal requirement. In this case, you don't have that type of formal requirement, but for you, in order to succeed and understand what we are working with, you need to be at least B1. Now, what are you going to get out of this? You're going to be helped on systematizing your English language teaching knowledge. It will boost your professional development because, as I said, if you do this well, then you will be ready to take on CELTA or Delta. You will be updated, you will be internationally recognized. It's also motivating because we teachers love studying, we love to be updated, we love to be learning. There is a certification, right? Remember this. You will get a certification, so that is important because we're always building. I mean, every year that when a year goes by and we see that we haven't done anything, I feel like, oh my goodness, I wasted a year. Yeah, I know I was working, but we always want to be updated. Things are happening very fast. And this is at the back of the certificates, you're going to see an explanation of the bands and what they mean. You see? For example, this doesn't correspond to this front. This corresponds to module 3, for example, but they explain here how it works. And now, what are the core modules? As you can see in this picture, the core is at the center. Yeah, like the heart of something. All right. So the core modules for the TKT, as I said before, are 3. We have module 1, module 2, and module 3. The first module, you're going to get a background to language learning and teaching. So you will be able to revise grammar, phonetics, a little bit of linguistics, lexis, right? And teaching knowledge. I mean, some terms related to the teaching field. That is the first module. At the end of each lesson, we are always going to have a mini mock, like a practice test based on a past paper. In the second module, we are going to see lesson planning, how to use resources for language teaching. And in the third module, we're going to see how to manage the teaching and learning processes in class. Managing, you see, administering that. And then we also have some specialist modules, right? Like, for example, there are other modules. These are not part of this course, but I'm going to describe them to you anyways, like the CLIL, the Content Language Integrated Learning. So this is targeted at teachers who work with English as a second language. I mean, the ones who teach subject content through English, like math in English, language and arts, social studies, science, you see? And then we also have YLE, which is teaching very young learners. All right. So the course we're going to start is the previous one, the core modules, module 1, 2, 3. Now, the entry criteria, as I said before, you don't need to fulfill any specific entry criteria like formal qualifications, but and you need to take into account that there is also no formal English language requirements, but it's very advisable that you should have at least a pre-intermediate level of English in order to participate successfully in the course. So these are some links that you can visit in order to be familiar with the ELT language. Anyways, I will have this available for the participants in the course, and you will be able to see that material in the Canvas. We work with a language management system, which is called Canvas. Maybe you know that already, but I'm just reminding that to you. And the characteristics of the test go like this. First of all, it's paper-based. There are 8 multiple choice questions, and it takes approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes. For example, a first module part of a test looks like this, you see? For questions 1 to 7, look at the sentences, you see? The 2 artists seem to understand what you have painted, but I'm not sure I know. Look at the bold words. So we are reading the questions about the grammar in these sentences and the 3 possible answers. We choose the correct answer. For example, which of the 3 verbs is not a main verb? Seem, have, or know? That is the type of questions that we're going to be trained to answer. See, it's language and background to language learning and teaching. You see, this is functions of grammar. That is what we are going to see in module 1. It's grammar, it's a bit of phonetics, it's a bit of vocabulary, it's and we have, remember, we have structural grammar and we have functional grammar, right? The objective tasks, matching and multiple choice, like the strategies, because we are being trained to take a test and we want to pass the test. Ultimately, I always tell my students when we are being trained for these examinations, why are you taking this test? They say, because I want to prove that I am a good teacher. Yeah, but what is your objective when you want to take the test? To get a certificate, but what is your first objective? You want to pass the test. So we're going to train in order to analyze test-taking skills, right? And the first module takes only 1 hour and 20 minutes. The second module, look at the type of questions here, see? These are, for example, textbook rubrics, see? And then activity aims here, see? It's more like methodological, right? So the second module deals with lesson planning, use of resources for language teaching, sorry, my bad. And also objective tasks such as matching and multiple choice. It also lasts 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then the last module, look at the type of questions here. See, we are going to match examples with teacher's language with the functions listed here. Yes, A, B, C. For example, if a teacher says, okay, put your hands up to show you're ready to go on to the next activity. What's the function here? Developing social interaction, getting students' attention, promoting learner independence. See, it's managing the teaching and learning process. And again, the objective tasks such as matching and multiple choice. We're in practice with that. Remember, at the end of every session, we will be taking a short mini mock, but not all of the mock, only the part that we are learning that is related to the content of that session. This also takes 1 hour and 20 minutes. The results, as I said, is represented in bands. 4 bands for each module. The results are released in approximately 2 weeks, 15 working days after they receive the exams in Cambridge. Yes. So you have to wait for the material, your answer sheets to be sent to England, in Cambridge specifically, and then they will take 2 weeks in order to deliver results. And then they explain here what you should be able to do. These are the can-dos. What can a teacher do regarding each of the bands obtained in the test? So, and this is like the average results percentage, right? Like usually candidates taking, well, that was in 2020, like 4 years ago. According to Cambridge Assessment TV, you can also find that information if you go to YouTube and you look for Cambridge Assessment TV TKT, you can have like the statistics about the results. Usually people score very high in the 3 modules. See, they get band 4 or band 3, sorry, or band 3, which is not bad either. See, very, very few score lower than that. So your chances are of getting a good score. So for more information about this, you can always visit cambridgeenglish.org, Teaching English, Teaching Qualifications, TKT, and you can also write to idiomas.lima@udeb.edu.pe, right? If there are any questions that you would like to ask, open ears to you. No questions? Well, I hope this, I tried to cover as much as possible in 30 minutes. So I hope this information will help you make a good decision. And you are more than welcome. Yes, Jennifer. How long does each module last? You mean that in the test, it takes 1 hour and 20, each of them. Now, if it's the course, the courses that we are offering will take 2 sessions per week, each of them 2 hours. So it's 4 hours per week, right? And we will be concluding. Let me see if I can give you accurate information about that. Sorry. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. We're going to start on April 6th. It's from April 4th till August 3rd, right? Remember, 4 hours, 2 sessions per week. Thursdays and Saturdays from 7 to 9, Thursdays and Saturdays from 3 to 5. I say this again, from April 4th till August 3rd. It will take 16 sessions for module 1, module 2, and 3, each of them 14, for modules 2 and 3, 14 sessions. All right. Is it necessary to be part of a course? We are offering the course. If you want to take the, for example, the B2 first, you can take the test, or you can prepare on your own. I mean, that's it. All right. And about the exam administration, you need to ask idiomas.lima.edu.pe. Yeah. Everything regarding the administration of the test and other examinations, you can ask to idiomas.lima.udeb and so on. Okay. At udeb.edu.pe here, which is highlighted. Yes. For other exams and exam administration dates, please, you can ask them directly. All right. So thank you very much for your kind participation tonight, I guess, because yeah, now we are a bit late now. And that will be all. Thank you very much for your attendance. Have a good evening. Good night.